I'd love to welcome up Dan. There you are. Sorry, I was looking over there. So Dan heads up Hope into Action, which we partner with, and Dan's going to share a little bit about what Hope into Action is and what's been going on over the last year or so. So over to you, Dan.
Thanks. And we do actually have a tenant here to share their story, but she's out taking her kids, so I've got to fill a bit of time until she's back. But yeah, Hope into Action. Many of you hopefully will remember last year we came and shared. We gave an update on where we were at. So we are a temporary supported accommodation provider helping people move on from homelessness. And we believe that housing alone is not a solution. Housing and professional support alone is not a solution. What actually people need to break that cycle of homelessness and move on is community. And so we only open houses in partnership with churches like New Community. And so we are incredibly pleased to be partnering with you and to be able to update on how we're getting along. You've now got 2 houses open in the city that you're supporting. The first one I think we mentioned last time we'd had some challenges with. That was a house that was for recovering addicts. We had issues with drugs and alcohol. We had to ask somebody to leave. Those issues continued through the year with difficulties between tenants, with more issues with drugs and alcohol. But each of those tenants, when they left, despite the difficulties, was able to communicate that they felt loved. And for some, that was something that they'd never had before. We've now managed to repurpose that house, and we've got some slightly lower risk tenants in who are already engaging well and are already doing well, as it turns out. The other house, which we talked about last year, in fact, we asked for donations for furniture and furnishings for that house. That other house is doing really well, and I'd like to welcome up our tenant from that house, so give him a big warm welcome. You get your own mic.
Hi, everyone.
Why don't you tell us who you are and what life was like before you came to live in a Hope into Action house?
I'm Kayleigh, and I came from a domestic abuse situation where I didn't really know what was happening actually was abuse. So it's really hard because when you kind of think of it, you think domestic abuse is physical, you get a black eye or whatever. It's really not. I think the hardest bit is knowing that it is completely emotional. It's full of manipulation. There's a lot of gaslighting, a lot of treading on eggshells. So a little example, the house must be clean straight away, no questions asked. I didn't even know what I was going through was abusive. I thought it was completely normal. And that's the sad thing, because it wasn't until I got out of the situation and I thought, oh no, that's not right at all. That shouldn't have happened. Why have I allowed this to happen? And that's probably from, I don't know, a bit of childhood trauma thrown in. Why not? Everything. And so my sister actually called up the charity Stop Domestic Abuse and said, you know, something's not right here. She needs to leave. She can't leave. She's got no money. All of her savings are gone. She's got 2 little kids. Where's she going to go? And so they said, oh, it is domestic abuse. And obviously, when they called me up and she said, do you think you're being abused? I was like, no, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. I'll just stick where I am. So when we went into refuge, obviously that was difficult because then you're placed with a load of families who have all gone through some sort of trauma. And so it's almost like you're thrown together, like a uni house. Except it's quite sad. And there was no drinking and partying, you know. It was, yeah. And, you know, someone's washing up's different to mine. So, yeah, and then we were there for about 6 months until Hope into Action came and approached them and said, you know, we've got a house, we'd like to offer a family some help, which was probably the best thing that ever happened to me. So, oh God, I've got to start crying.
Well, why don't you tell us what difference has it made to you being in a Hope into Action house? What's life like now?
Do you know, it's peace. There's so much peace. And my kids are really, really happy. I'm really happy. And we're able to live in sort of an environment with support. So obviously, coming out of everything, you're almost like conditioned. But I can lean on these guys for anything. If I need something, I'll call up, or if I say I'm having a really bad day, someone will call me back. They'll be straight round. I'm able to access all sorts of different things. Like, I now run a lot, and I couldn't be able to access that if it wasn't for people, like you guys who are fundraising and donating and stuff. That wouldn't even happen. So if anything, this is a massive thank you for what everyone has done for me, because it has helped, and it means the world, especially to my children, who are now sort of, well, they're not level. They're a bit, but whirlwinds in a nice way. And we're going to be all right, and it's all down to you guys, and I'm so grateful for you all. It's really lovely.
All right. Final question. What are your hopes for the future?
Oh.
Come on, I even asked that in advance.
I know he did. And he was like, what are your hopes? Well, something will come off the tongue. It hasn't. Well, essentially, I just want us all to be all right. I want me to be okay as well. Coming out of a domestic abuse situation, you're still not okay. Little things can sort of trigger you. Someone can say something and you'll be like, oh, how dare you? And you're back there. I want that to go, and it can help. And all the support that's given helps. So essentially, I want to be a little bit more level-headed. And yeah, the kids are all right. So, all right. Yeah,
well done,
a bit
Kayleigh.
more level-headed. But who's normal?
And Kayleigh is doing incredibly well. So much so that we've nominated her for an award nationally early next month. So we've nominated a bunch of our tenants who are doing really well, and Kayleigh's up there with them, and hopefully coming up to the national conference with us, assuming you can get childcare sorted. So I want to say a big thank you to you as a church, particularly, I can't really see because the lights are in my face, but give us a wave. Mike, Amy, Joe, Philippa, you've all been wonderful as volunteers. You've stuck with us through the hard times and the good. And if anyone else here would like to get involved, there are future opportunities. We're always looking to open new houses. We're up to 6 in the city now. And there are other opportunities. We've been talking with the council about particular needs around people who are leaving care, anyone in the kind of 18 to 25 age range. And so we're exploring opportunities around opening a house to help care leavers. And if that's an area of interest to you, come and see me. We'd love to chat. I know you're going to take up an offering, which we are very grateful for. But if any of you would like to support us regularly, we'd love that too. It's really helpful to be able to budget when we know how much money's coming in, and it makes a real difference in the support that we can offer. So if you would like to do that, come and see me after. And if you'd just like to hear more about what's going on and to pray, you can sign up to our mailing list. So I'm going to hang around roughly near the sound desk afterwards, and you can come and grab me. I've got information galore, but also a couple of forms if you want to either support us regularly or pray for us. Who am I handing back to? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dan and Kayleigh. It's really amazing to hear your stories, the stories of hope really in action. So great name. Now what we want to do